Hey, good morning. This is Mike and Katie. We're here in Washington, D.C. Actually, we are in Arlington, Virginia at a hotel. We flew in yesterday morning and got to the airport in about 10:30. Met a nice man named Eugene who explained where the metro station was and how to take the orange line right to our hotel room. And then we got into our hotel room, kind of changed clothes, relaxed a little bit, and then we headed back downtown to the Holocaust Museum.
So when we arrived at the Holocaust Museum, we were get into this elevator with a bunch of people.
Like 50.
So we're all squished together, and you watch a short. I mean, it's like a 30-second video, and you start out, and then you go up a floor, and when you start out, you get an identification card. This everyone who comes gets one of these, and there's female and male, and they're all different people, and it's so you can kind of live as a survivor of a Holocaust or as people who were in the concentration camps and maybe didn't survive. That was my dad's. He got that one, and his name was Ivo Herzer, and he actually survived the Holocaust. And mine was Lydia. She didn't end up surviving. It says her parents and her were never heard from again. So it's just you can kind of live as a survivor and read different people's stories that you don't always get to hear about. But when we start out, there's the first floor, and it's called the Nazi Assault, and it's from 1933 to 1939, and it's how the Nazis gained power and became the leaders of Germany. And then the second floor is called the Final Solution from 1940 to 1945, and that's how they decided to, like, how they set up the concentration camps and organized these mass murders and started the Holocaust.
And they had original railroad cars that they transported the people in. The actual beds, or they're not beds, but the wooden boards, the wooden slats that the people had to sleep in. You've
Right
all
there.
seen those pictures where they're just piled up on
You
top
could
of each other.
sit there and, I mean, you could touch them if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
they're actual ones that were saved from there. And it was amazing. And then the third floor, so first it was the how the Nazis got to power. Then the final solution, how the Nazis were going to deal with Jews, and not only Jews, but everyone that they thought was inferior, like gypsies and other races.
Not part of the Aryan race.
Race, and even people with certain diseases and afflictions were killed also. And then the last part was the liberation, about how United States, England, and Russia came in and found this terrible situation and liberated the Jewish people. And we spent 3 hours there.
Yeah,
3 hours.
one really interesting and moving part was you walked. It was kind of a huge path, and so you walked into this room, and there was a little bridge, and you crossed over it, and then you looked on both sides. There was piles of like hundreds of shoes
Thousands.
that they took from the people who entered the concentration camps, and so it was
Just amazing. Unbelievable.
and so then there's this also part. This was my favorite part. It's called this. It's this tower of pictures of. It says more than 6,000 people, and they were people from the small town in Lithuania,
Lithuania, yes.
and
A community that was there for over 900 years.
that they were mostly Jewish, and I think they were all killed in the Holocaust, or at least the majority of them from the small town were all captured and taken to the concentration camps and killed. And you look up, it's like 40 feet of pictures, and down is like 20 feet of pictures. It's just
Amazing.
so moving.
Actual pictures of people from this town.
Yeah, and then the last part was this Hall of Remembrance. And there's this eternal flame that's always going. And it's a big round room with names of concentration camps, and then candles for their survivors. And that was also a very moving part.
So then afterwards, when we left the museum, Katie and I hadn't eaten all day, and we were starving. So we talked to some locals on the street and the guides, the security guards outside. And Katie had put together an entire itinerary of what we're going to do and where everything is at, and all the maps and the times and the tickets. I mean, she had everything set. And she also had all the local restaurants that she wanted to go to. And one was called the Good Stuff Eatery, who
The
the owner is a very famous chef on.
He's on Top Chef. He performed on Top Chef, and he also has his own Bravo TV show.
Yeah, and it was called the Good Stuff Eatery up on Capitol Hill. So we took a cab up there, and when we got there, it's just a fun little restaurant, and they had the best hamburgers. I had to have the Prez Obama burger, and they also had very good fries, and Katie had a nice salad
And a malt.
and a malt.
Those were good.
And we got to sit outside on the sidewalk and watch all the people leaving work from the Capitol, and they were leaving like 6:30, 7 o'clock. But everybody was in suits and dresses, and very nice, beautiful evening. And so we wrapped up our day yesterday after dinner, and we are now just about ready to head out. We're going to Arlington Cemetery, or we might just scrap that plan and take a guided tour on a bus.
Yeah.
So we're not quite sure, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of things.